Just a little bit, Harry. Are you landing now, Harry? Yes. Joggle it then. Right, forward, please, Monroe. Hold it, hold it.
Transmitters. There will be two on the whole assembly, one working and one standing by, day and night. Now, first tests. The start of a series to make sure nothing went wrong in transit, gradually working up to full power checks. The control room grows in the hands of a dozen engineers. Control here will be linked via the satellite to the center of the network at Houston. Immediate contact will always be possible. Day 5. Ascension is right in the path of the southeast trade winds, blowing from morning till night. The shape is made and made secure. At Cape Kennedy, 50 astronauts are in training for going to the moon or beyond. The pioneers who must hit the 40-mile wide corridor on their return to Earth. For if they do not, their capsule will shoot into orbit round the sun and be lost in space forever. On this day, the launch of another Saturn 1B rocket. It will be the second stage of the one which goes to the moon, yet it is still twice as big as anything fired before. On the eastern tip of Ascension Island is the NASA station which tracks and monitors this and every space shot, from scientific probes to manned flights. For the succession of tests in the Apollo program, pre-taped data is fed into their system at the precise moment.
Horizon -5 seconds. Roger, servos, receiver 2, horizon -5 seconds. Stand by for acquisition. Acquisition track. All right, we're getting him now. We're getting a strong signal. Stand by for loop lock. All right, I see him coming in now. Stand by. Loop.
The contact made, and streams of vital information will go back across the island for transmission by the completing Earth station. Day 6.
Don't let the wind catch you.
Yeah, I just want to come across the touch, Johnny.
Okay.
How's it look from underneath, Johnny?
All right, looks fine here. Okay, hold it, Monroe. You okay there, Harry?
Yes, okay.
Okay, Harry. I
Yes,
can't see
okay.
now. Can you
Okay.
take it from there?
Okay.
We've certainly been in some odd places together, but the job here's going fine. At least the weather's good, not like it was in England when we put the station up there for the first time. Only 3 months ago it was. Day and night then, we worked in all kinds of weather, ironing out the snags, making sure it all fitted. And having got it together, checked and working, we had to take it to pieces, pack it up, send it here, and put it together again.
On this job, you must have a good head for heights. You've got to look after the other fellow. It was much harder in England than it was here. It was a bit of a job getting everything to fit, doing so many modifications to the job. And not only that, the winds and weather were really terrible. Sometimes we felt like spacemen ourselves. All the clothes we had to wear.
Weather, design, time, all linked together. You can't put up petals if the wind is 60 miles an hour, and if the petals aren't up, you can't make the electrical checks. So you do not know what modifications may be needed. Engineers sat down together week after week checking progress, deciding on changes, working 18 hours a day, and somehow, in spite of the weather, keeping it on schedule. Now, 6 months later, day 7 on Ascension, even here, gentle rain greets the completion of the dish.
Keep it coming.
Day 8, a lot still to be done. And until the motors and all their controls are installed, the only way to turn the dish is by hand.
Right, you're coming up now then. Okay then. Yes, okay then. Okay, Monroe.
Once the transmitters get into position, the whole structure begins to take on its final shape.
Oh, she's fine, she's fine. All right, Monroe.
When it's finished, a great feeling. We like to go out and have a beer up.
This afternoon, you know, we just started turning the turnaround mixer around and somebody started up the aerial. Come on, then.
There's one fair county in Ireland where memories so glorious and grand, where nature has vanished the bounty on the orchards of Erin's green land. It's my own Irish home. Far across the foam, although I've often left it in foreign lands to roam, where I wander.
Now the sun is coming and we all wake up. Wave our arms around. Come on, nicely. Come on, Jackie, please. Up. Up. That's right. And back again. Back.
Well, we're now getting down to the basic electrics of the system. All the control mechanisms which get the aerial pointing in the right direction and stay pointing to within a minute fraction of a degree. But we have reached the stage where we can begin to call it a station and not a project.
Checks and more checks. Power supplies, like the transmitters, in duplicate, should anything go wrong with the first, the second coming in automatically. The arteries of the system, the cables, carrying the complex of information to and from the aerial, to control what it does and to let the engineers know how every bit is working. The veins of the system, hundreds of intricate wires and printed circuits, thousands of transistors, and the latest micro devices where you get a dozen transistors in the space of one. The station grows within, and outside looks nearly ready for moon communications. And all around, the island's bleak trachyte and lava seem to sense its purpose. Yet, 3,000 feet up, man is very much on Earth. Green Mountain, a lava summit which over the centuries has weathered down to soil and has been carefully planted over the last 100 years. So that now, in this tiny area, there are trees from every continent in the world, together with its own descendant of the first in the world, the tree fern. The unique atmosphere is at one and the same time subtropical, tropical and temperate. Sometimes, indeed, you could think yourself in England.
I've been here now about 9 years. Though there are a lot of problems in growing things up here, I still find the whole project fascinating. We can easily get salads, milk, some fresh meat and potatoes. All kinds of things grow wild up here, like ginger and guavas. But we have to be quite ruthless with them, otherwise they just take over. But it's marvelous to hear a bird's song and feel grass under your feet. The Navy started the farm in about 1840, when they were the only people on the island. They laid out the water catchments, which have been the island's main source for about 80 years. They also brought in the first donkeys and then abandoned them. We use a few for work. But a great number still just roam the island, grubbing up whatever dried vegetation they can find down in the bleakness of the rest of the island.
Okay, let's try joystick control now. Okay, Jim, are they clear on the aerial?
Yes, all clear on the aerial.
Right. Now ease it forward. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's coming down. Slowly. 70.
Down, 70.
Yeah, okay. Now in azimuth. Yeah, okay, it's moving in azimuth, all right. Okay, it's going. It's all right, fine.
The first stage of test, so far so good, and the engineers can feel that the final working is within sight. The final stage when the station is sending and receiving the complex of information for the spacecraft via the latest and biggest satellite, now undergoing its checks in a laboratory 5,000 miles away. The mosaic on its outside is 12,000 solar cells to give it power from the sun during its life in space. At least 3 years at a height of 22,000 miles. Target position for the Ascension Station. Day 21. Next test, tracking.
Okay, foresight coming up. Okay, on foresight.
A simulated satellite just a few miles away. Locking onto this is a major check of the aerial's tracking powers, needed to search out and hold the satellite when it is launched. At Cape Kennedy, the satellite is now in the nose of its launch rocket. Fueling and final checks are underway, and it is just a few hours now to blast off. A few hours before the satellite will be lifted to 23,000 miles, kicked into elliptical orbit, and then at the right moment brought into circular synchronous orbit only a few degrees north of Ascension Island. There the station is ready. Ready on time and waiting.